We are only 327 days away from WrestleMania 42 in New Orleans, so I thought there is no better time to try and predict night 2 of the show. I'm Ben Allison, here at Wrestling Republic, and in today's video, I'm going to once again try my luck at predicting WrestleMania 42 way too early. Now, before we get started, let's get in the New Orleans mood, the purple, and let's get into it. Now, if you haven't seen my video from the other day where I tried to predict night 1 of the show, well, probably go and watch that first, but just in case you don't have the time to, let me run through what I predicted. I had Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn for the World Championship, Braun Breaker versus Jacob Fatu versus Rusev versus Sheamus for the United States Championship, Becky Lynch versus Julia versus Roxanne Perez versus Liv Morgan versus Lyra Valkyria versus Io Sky for the Intercontinental Championship in a ladder match, and then Gunther versus Oba Femi and the Street Profits taking on the Lucha Brothers, Fraxium and DIY for the WWE Tag Team belts. And then in the co-main event, and an emphasis on co-main because I think this is the match to steal the show, Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley for the WWE Championship. And then in the main event, I think it's finally going to happen, Roman Reigns versus The Rock. Now, you might be wondering why I chose some of those matches, why I made those decisions. Well, just watch the other video. I'm not going to repeat myself again. Come on, guys. So without further ado, let's get into night 2 and let's kick things off with the Intercontinental Championship. Because I believe, in fact I'm certain, Dominic Mysterio is going to be dropping this title throughout the year. But I reckon by WrestleMania, Damian Priest will be the Intercontinental Champion. And I also predict by this point that the Judgment Day will have finally split up. Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio, the tensions between them will grow just too much. Maybe even Balor cost Dom the Intercontinental Championship. But I believe we are going to see a conclusion to the Judgment Day story at WrestleMania with a triple threat match. Damian Priest defending against Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio. The three quote-unquote leaders of the Judgment Day will go head-to-head, and I believe it will be a banger to open the show. Up next, we have a match which was meant to be on this year's WrestleMania, but obviously did not happen due to injury, and that is Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton. Look, this might be a little bit optimistic about the return of Kevin Owens. He could be out for a lot longer than a year, but let's just hope and pray that it is only a year and he comes back in time for this. You could either just have Kevin Owens return and go straight back after Randy Orton, or you could have him return and say, listen, I've been sitting at home and I realized that I was wrong. And Randy Orton goes, okay, fair enough, and then RKOs him anyway. But this match, this feud is worthy of a WrestleMania moment, so I do hope we see one. Up next, let's talk about the Ladies United States Championship, because this is another title which I think is going to be hot potatoed around a little bit this year. I can't see Zelina Vega holding it to SummerSlam, never mind WrestleMania, and unfortunately for Zelina, I don't even think she's going to be on the WrestleMania card. But I do think, and I predict, that Stephanie Vaquer will be the United States Champion by then. I don't think she's going to be holding the Women's Championship for very long in NXT. I think she is going to get called up around SummerSlam, if not earlier. And by this time, she will be the Women's United States Champion and will have had a little bit of a dominant reign as well. And the first person I think she's going to be defending against is Bayley. Bayley, one of the 4 horsemen, you've got to get her on this card. But I can't really see her having a space in either of the World Championship matches. And the exact same thing I'm going to say for Naomi as well. Naomi, since getting this new gimmick, has been fantastic. And I do think this is going to be a massive year for her. And I do think, in fact, she is going to be in the World Championship pictures at times. But at WrestleMania, I'm predicting the midcard championship. And then last but certainly not least, the 4th lady in the match, I believe, is going to be the current WWE Women's Champion, Tiffany Stratton. I predicted in the last video that Tiffany Stratton is going to drop the belt to Bianca Belair before WrestleMania, in fact quite a bit before, but I do think she has to be on this card. But yeah, this match is a little bit random, but it is one of those matches where you're like, we've got to get all these people on the card, and we know Triple H loves multi-person matches, especially at WrestleMania, so I think they are going to do it. Up next, we have Drew McIntyre, and I'm going to be honest out of the gates, I really hope he's in a bigger spot on the card than what I am predicting. But what I am predicting is he is going to face Uncle Howdy. And the reason for this prediction is at this stage, I believe we're going to be coming to the end of the Drew McIntyre heel run. And we know Uncle Howdy and Bray Wyatt before him are often used as a catalyst to turn wrestlers either babyface or heel, basically a major character change. And I think Uncle Howdy is going to haunt Drew McIntyre with all of his demons, and I think it is going to be, quite frankly, an absolutely fantastic feud. Maybe not an unbelievable match in ring at WrestleMania, but the feud itself I do think is going to be WrestleMania worthy, and there's a lot of story to tell here. Up next, we have the World Tag Team Championships. Now, despite what I previously predicted about the Lucha Brothers taking the titles off the New Day, I no longer think that's going to happen. In fact, now what I think is going to happen is the New Day are going to hold the championships all the way to WrestleMania. Remember that really long reign they had from, I believe, 2015 to 2017? Maybe 16 to 17, I'm not sure. But it was a massively long reign with the tag team titles, and the Bar eventually took the titles off them. Well, I believe the New Day are going to go on a similar run to that, but this time as heels, where they are cheating constantly. But at WrestleMania, they're going to see the newly reunited back together once again, Usos. Jey Uso has had a ridiculously fun singles run. There's no denying that, right? And the hate he's getting now is completely unjustified. He is over and he deserves that spot on the card. But I do want to see the Usos reunite because they are one of the best tag teams of this generation. And of course, the rivalry between the Usos and the New Day is a classic in itself. They've had so many matches against each other, most recently in November of 2022. So by the time this match happens, they won't have faced each other in 3 years. So undoubtedly, WrestleMania is a big enough stage to do it. In fact, it is the stage that it should be done on. And of course, historically, either they've both been babyfaces or it's been the Usos who are the heels. So the roles are going to be reversed this time, and that adds more to the story as well. Definitely a Mania match for me. And now time to talk about the World Women's Championship, because by this time, I predict that Jade Cargill is going to be the Women's World Champion. Since arriving in WWE, Jade Cargill has been pushed to the moon and back, and I do think the push is going to continue this year and she will win that World Women's Championship. She has a phenomenal look, phenomenal physique, but also every single time she steps in that ring, she improves, and that is the most impressive part about her. But for who she'll be facing, it's the match they've already been teasing over and over and over again, and I think they are going to save it for WrestleMania: Charlotte Flair. I think Charlotte is going to be out of the main event picture all year long until next year's WrestleMania, when she's finally built herself back up once again, and potentially she wins the Rumble or the Chamber, who knows. But I think WWE are going to keep her in the main event scene for WrestleManias because, hey, they love her, and I do think this match, this feud, could be an all-timer. I mean, this match on a poster is a match which sells itself. Now, from an in-ring perspective, it could go one of two ways, but this is what I predict they're going to do. And last but finally not least, let's talk about the WWE Championship. But first, we have to talk about the last real champion, John Cena, because I predict that in his final match, or one of his final matches, he will drop the WWE Championship back to Cody Rhodes. And therefore, heading into WrestleMania 42, Cody will still be the champion, and he will be defending in the main event of Night 2 against CM Punk. It's the match they've teased ever since CM Punk returned to WWE, and even before it for a very short time in AEW as well. And there's a lot of story that they can tell. I mean, no way do you tease a match 2 years in a row in WrestleMania season to not then actually plan to do it at WrestleMania. I do think this is going to be the case whether or not CM Punk is even the WWE Champion. It's one way or the other. But I think we're going to see this, and I think it is going to be a blast. So there we have it, guys. My predicted card for WrestleMania 42 Sunday. Now, I always need to emphasize this, but this isn't necessarily the card I want. In fact, quite a few of these matches I'm not necessarily too keen on today, but it is the card that I predict. How many do you guys think I've got right? Let me know in the comments down below, and before you click off the video, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help us out. We do multiple high-quality videos every single week here at Wrestling Republic, and in addition to that, we have a live daily stream every single day at 8 p.m. UK, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. I hope to see you guys there. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Peace.